that entire cemetery, that whole thing. I mean, you can see the production value went into it. These are all set dressing. None of it. This is not a real cemetery. This is just an empty hillside outside of Matera across a ravine. It's all been built up for the movie. All right, Viv, so we're looking here at the scenes we've recently put in from the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die. And the thing that's been great about it is really breaking down the scene continuity of how they build these scenes. So as I scroll down, here are these two scenes, actually three scenes here, from Civita Lucana, which is the fictional town where James Bond and Madeline Swan go at the beginning of the movie. And if you look here at this scene, I'll bring up this scene, and this is all in our database. This is how we build our scenes. So here's the picture that you get to see in the app. In the middle and on the right-hand side of the frame is the town of Matera, Italy, which is one town. And then over here, the bridge, that there's a scene later, a much bigger scene where he's coming back from Vesper Lynd's tomb, happens over here. And that's a whole different town in Italy. So that's all CGI'd together here. But in finding this location for this scene on the SetJetters app, I found the exact little side patio on the street where you can sit and get at least this straight on shot of Matera, Italy, which is pretty cool.
Now, you were saying there was another one there where they've added some buildings to Matera that are not actually there.
Right. If you come back, and we'll go down to this one here, they're being walked up to their room here, right, along this path. So they check in at this area down in town. They pull up to the valet stand, which is really just a patio umbrella and a guy standing there on a regular street. There's no hotel in this area. I think there's a restaurant over to the right, but no hotel. And this gentleman, this porter, walks them up to their room. Everything James is looking at when Madeline says, "You don't have to look over your shoulder anymore. Nobody's coming." And he's like, "I wasn't looking over my shoulder." This whole city over here, this is all CGI. It's not there in real life. Beautiful shot. And I also found out that people want to know is Mel Gibson's movie, The Last Temptation of Christ, shot in this same town and came down this exact same little path in Matera, Italy.
So in the SetJetters app, where if you put this scene in, where will the pin drop you and what will you see when you try to do the shot sync?
The pin will drop you pretty much exactly where the camera would have been sitting right here to capture this shot. Cool. It's above the path. They come up this path and they turn their left, right, our right, and they go up a narrow passage right there. And you'll pretty much be standing right at that narrow passage. This is a great one. These two right here. This is after they leave Madeline's house when Bond realizes that Saffin's men are coming to get Madeline and Mathilde, her daughter. So Bond loads them into her Land Rover and they take off and get away. And they notice that they're being followed by Saffin's men. We're going to chase them. So he comes down the road here and he takes a hard right that takes him off the main road and onto a more dirt road that they need to four-wheel through some rivers and the whole thing. The minute they turn right and then the frame cuts to them, they've gone from Norway to Scotland. That second half of that whole scene is shot in Scotland.
Yeah, wow.
So this Atlantic coast road, this Atlantic Ocean road in Norway is just a beautiful feat of engineering across all these islands through Norway, a beautiful road. Norway enticed the production to come up and use that landscape so people in the world could know about it. This scene here on the motorcycle, I'm pretty sure it happened in Matera, but because they shot in the two different cities that combined one, I made that one of our challenge scenes. So you're gonna have to really go across several different towns in Italy to find it. So I know that's a terrible challenge that people will have to take, but enjoy walking through Italy trying to find these steps.
Oh, what a hard job.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
I had a question for you, Charlie, because we're excited at SetJetters because we've actually just launched all the James Bond films into our app.
Right.
You've been spearheading that effort to have that happen. So you've touched pretty much all the James Bond films. What's been your favorite James Bond film from a set jetting perspective?
I honestly, I think it's really these last 5 Daniel Craig versions, really just because of the way, as you can see as I scroll through here, they opened up the lens and allowed the landscape to the travel aspect, that sort of to be part of the world they were building. The thing about a Bond movie is the world they create and the storytelling. They really did that in these later versions and allowed our eyes to take in the grandeur and the scale to which James Bond lives.
Yeah. Cool. So download SetJetters. We've got a pile of James Bond films in there that have just been released, but also other films. So if you really want to explore beyond James Bond, type into our search bar and get traveling.